No, so Super Wildcard Weekend was a mixed bag. You had moments like last night between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Dallas Cowboys where one team was clearly overmatched, and then you had some literal wild stuff happening. Like you had Trevor Lawrence coming back from, 27-0 deficit after a horrendous first half with 4 touchdowns. Comes back, wins that game, and then he crushes it at a Waffle House after the fact. What's more Duval than going to a Waffle House after you win a playoff game? He's a man of the people. The Miami Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills provided some fireworks as well. I want to get to the Bills in a second because I think they're on danger watch right now based on what I saw against the Dolphins. But let's start with last night's game, Giglio, because you get an opportunity to do what you love doing the most. And that's saying you were right about something.
Yeah, I mean, it's just rare that you get to write your own ending, whether it's sports or whether it's your own life. It's just not the way it goes. And Tom Brady fooled around and found out. He lost his wife. He came back for a team that went 8-9 and was completely incompetent in front of him. The head coach has no track record of ever winning in this league. Mm-hmm. And so what did you do? What did you trade your life and your wife and your family for? To be 8-9 and to lose in the wild card round for the NFC South Championship? It's not worth it at all. But you know what we're going to see again next season? Tom Brady come back.
Yeah,
maybe he goes and plays for his buddy Stephen Ross. Maybe he goes out to San Francisco if Brock Purdy doesn't close the Tom Brady circle here by winning a championship.
Yeah.
As a pick after the 6th round or worse. And it just you looked at the Buccaneers and they were a shell of the team that had won the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Props to them though. They hit it in their window. Like, what else do you want if you're a Bucs fan? You were down in Tampa, right? I'm sure they were whatever. I don't know if it'd be nonchalant is the right word, but it's like, here, you put together a great team. They won a Super Bowl the first year, and it seems like that's pretty cool. That's pretty good.
It's funny you mentioned it. Yeah, I was in Tampa. I was there for one of my sons. They had a hockey tournament down in Tampa. It was a tough weekend for the kid. That's why we went ahead and said, screw it. Let's go to Epcot and go ride Guardians of the Galaxy, which was a hell of a lot of fun. But we can talk about that later. You know me, Giglio knows this about me. The audience might not know this about me, but I have a sickness. When I'm in another market, I will listen to sports talk radio. I will listen to the other radio stations just to kind of see how they go about it. And there was some talk about the Monday night game against the Dallas Cowboys. But to your point, I think some people were like, yeah, man, we had our chip. We got a celebration down the river. He tossed the Lombardi to another boat. It was amazing.
It was cool.
Oh, and by the way, the Lightning are still good. Yeah. So I saw more go Bolts than I did see go Bucks. I saw more Lightning stuff bumping around Tampa than I did Buccaneer stuff. My dad, out of protest, was rocking Dolphins gear at the arenas this weekend, and I actually saw more Buffalo Bills gear while I was bumping around.
That tracks.
Which tracks a hell of a lot. When I went to Epcot on Monday, guess what I saw? More Dallas Cowboys stuff than anything else as people were getting hyped for Monday night's game. So Tampa's in a weird spot. They got their championship and they're moving on. But to your point about, what did it cost you? 9 wins in a bad division. You backdoor your way into the playoffs. I'm sorry.
In a bad division. They didn't even have a winning record.
I keep forgetting. My bad. So 8 wins in a bad division. You still win that division title. You get to the playoffs and you get smoked. You get embarrassed by the Dallas Cowboys, who usually are the team that find a way to be memeable. Although Dallas still found a way.
They did.
That's the amazing part about the Cowboys. So I don't want to make this all about Tom, okay? But the Cowboys still found a way to be embarrassing even in a win. Because here's where I was wrong. I was of the mind that the Dallas Cowboys are, and Jerry Jones are very much like peanuts, okay? You got Charlie Brown in the football, and Lucy's got the football, and somebody's going to yank the football at the very last moment, and you do it anyway. You still set yourself up to have the football yanked from you. I always feel like that's Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys. And I didn't trust the Cowboys mainly because of Dak Prescott, who had, in 12 games, the most interceptions. I did not feel that Mike McCarthy was going to be the head coach that was going to outfox folks on his way to the Super Bowl. That's not who he is. The defense is spectacular. The defense did his job, and here's where I was wrong. Dak Prescott actually looked the damn part on Monday night. I don't know if that's because it's going up against the shell of itself Tampa Bay defense, but I can't ask for much more than what Dak Prescott provided in that half.
But this was one of my favorite spots in sports. Dallas was embarrassed by the way that they played against Washington in the regular season finale.
Fair.
We can sit here and argue and say, oh my God, that game meant something to Dallas. It didn't, okay? They saw the writing on the wall. They knew the Giants' eighth stringers weren't going to beat the Eagles. So they didn't, for whatever reason, they didn't show up against Washington, but they got the ultimate result. They lost, and then everyone started doubting them, and everyone started to be like, see, Dak Prescott's a choker. See, Mike McCarthy can only win when he has Aaron Rodgers and they play on the road. And it's like, no, that's a perfect spot to be. Because if I've learned anything covering NC State football all these years is the second you start bad-mouthing, the second you start telling them they can't, that's when they start believing they can. And that's exactly what happened with Dallas after that regular season finale. It was the perfect setup. That it was Brady, it was only better because then you had ESPN basically saying really nice things about Tom Brady, if I can clean up my own language in real time here. And, he's never lost to the Cowboys. So what? How many times have they played, and have they ever played when it meant something?
What was the stat that had the Buccaneers won, Tom Brady was going to have more playoff wins assigned to him than the entire Dallas Cowboys franchise? Like
sounds right.
Yeah, like Tom Brady as quarterback has been a part of.
Well, he's been to the Super Bowl 10 times.
Right,
so.
it's going to happen. It's going to happen. That he was going to have more playoff wins than the Dallas Cowboys franchise, period. Yeah, the franchise.
They could have looked up whatever they wanted to last week, and that's what they were all doing because we're kind of sort of obsessed with Tom Brady. And quite frankly, I'm glad the Cowboys got their act together and got rid of them. I thought they did. I thought their defense was really good.
Okay.
Yeah, the one issue, of course, is the kicker.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
But you look at the way they not only incorporated the different receivers, the tight end. Tight ends win playoff football games.
Sure.
I don't care who you are. That's a Bill Parcells axiom. And guess who stole it? Belichick. So tight ends win playoff football games. You saw that in Dalton Schultz. The first touchdown for the Bills, Dawson Knox. Look through it all. You'll see the tight end, I promise you. Kelsey when we see the Chiefs next week. So
I'll get back to what I said about the Cowboys, and they constantly find themselves with the football there, and Lucy's going to yank it, and they're Charlie Brown.
That's next week.
Because here's Jerry Jones, just a win against what we understand to be a bad Buccaneers team with an aging Tom Brady that time might actually have finally defeated him. Here he is, the owner of the Cowboys, comparing this team to the one from the 90s, chock full of Hall of Famers.
It's like a hunting dog. We have tasted what you need to realize is there, and it will cause you to grow. I saw that happen to our championship teams, and I saw us take guys that certainly had the goods, but they not necessarily had the experience or the having had it happen to them. They hadn't. But our teams of the 90s did come on and get better and grow.
Yeah, he needs a governor. He needs someone to tell him, hey, man, I get it. You're pumped. But you don't have to have a presser or availability after every game. Just chill.
Nah, man. He's all about it. He's all about it. Cannot wait for next week when they come up short against the San Francisco 49ers. Although I know how this is setting up, right? There's all sorts of symmetry when it comes to sports, and we're talking about the Cowboys of the 90s. And never forget that the San Francisco 49ers were also in their way back in the 90s. What was it, 93, I think it was? So let's not forget. It's all perfectly symmetrical, and we're 30 years removed from this. It's all coming together. I get that sports works like that, but you know what? I also thought that about Tom Brady. How'd that work out for Tom Brady? I thought that Tom Brady would have one more in him, and it was going to be Monday night. In fact, that did not happen.